compliment my taste. Whiskey in my lemonade, cause I like the way it tastes. Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates. Order steak by the plate, send in case after case. Run my race at my pace, clear the grass of the snake.
Episode 200. We are live with some special guests today. And, you know, I wore my work attire to the podcast. So did you. This is what we wore to our 9 to 5 today. And this is 200 episodes we're celebrating of Talking Buccos baseball because we are true sickos. Adam, congrats. We made it.
Congrats to yourself. 200 episodes. That's about 200 hours of talking Pirates baseball. And if you're listening, you're also part of this because we wouldn't have made it to 200 without all the support that we've received over the past year and a half. Couple highlights just for me. Going down to spring training and being credentialed for the first time, that first time out on the field, talking to players, hitting episode 100 just before the season and already reaching 200 now. Pretty cool, man. I don't know about you, but that's kind of my top of the list right now of what we've got to experience out of Bucco Banter so far.
Yeah, for sure. We're flying through the episodes this year. And I think the highlight for me is just being at the ballpark every day and then getting noticed and getting the feedback that we make Pirates baseball fun. I think that to me makes this all worth it because that's the goal here is to bring some lightheartedness to maybe a not so positive situation and just to enjoy baseball because we love the game of baseball and, you know, we're just going to make the most out of it. And I think we've done that so far this season. And in season 2 of Bucco Banner, we just started this last February, man. And it's come a long way.
A very long way. This season makes it feel like we've been talking Pirates for about 10 years now because it just won't end. Right when you think things are turning around, just like how they went on that little win streak before the trade deadline, they bring you right back down. They come back. You got the Rockies series, which just heartbreaking stuff. The Giants at home. Turns out you can't beat them every single time. They dropped 2 of 3 to the Giants. Kind of a classic Pirate series. Before we get into it, Cam Sanders made his debut. And then we have an article to talk about as well. Yeah, we do. Why don't you lead us into that?
So we're talking about the Prada article, right?
That's what we're talking about because let's keep this fun and entertaining.
So many articles. John Prada posted an article regarding the anticipated decrease in payroll for the next season. Okay. Payroll's already decreased since trading, you know, Brian Hayes, Caleb Ferguson, David Bednar, quite a bit. And that was meant to create flexibility. And it hasn't done, and it doesn't seem like that's what it's going to do per this article. If true, they anticipate not increasing payroll at all or decreasing it. So yeah, it's that was a bummer to read, and I don't know what your thoughts are on it, Adam, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. And am I surprised? No, but
yeah, that you took the words right out of my mouth. If you are surprised by that article, good article, by John, good journalism there. Listen, if you're surprised by it though, if you really thought that they're not making trades, if you believe the Ben Cherington nonsense that they're not making trades to save money, that they're reallocating funds to dump into the roster for next year, which I think he kind of stepped back on and said, well, there's other ways to reallocate those funds to make this team better other than putting it into the roster, which is something we talked in depth with Noah about a ton last year.
They're going to put it into building an actual pirate ship.
To my next point, they should put a pirate ship out there right next to the payphone bank.
Yep.
Listen, you can't be surprised by this kind of stuff. And while it's just kind of adding fuel to the fire. And I think that's necessary at this point. We're at the point where someone maybe needs to step in to fix the situation, because we just said it. When you think it can't get any worse, it does. And if you're telling all of the fans that this team is going to get better in 2026 by not spending more money than you did in 2025 or 2024, then you're just lying to yourself. And that's a problem. And I know Major League Baseball is trying to figure that out, and you have the CBA coming out and the potential lockout, but a cap's really not going to help the Pirates.
No, not at all. I get the argument. Someone's calling me out for not being able to learning how to tie my own tie. Huh. Interesting. Scum.
Well, he is scum. I know you corrected it to Scott, but he is scum.
Yeah, interesting. Not the best work, right? I did this last minute. No, actually, I wore this to work today. Sorry. Right. Anyways, yeah, it's. I don't know, man. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to start with this right now. It's a tough situation.
It really is. We read off the free agent list. You say like, hey, they're going to go out and spend money. They haven't signed a multi-year free agent in 10 plus years, 10 years. And then you look at the free agent list for next year, knock off 90% of those names that will absolutely not sign with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Absolutely will not sign. That leaves you with the bottom barrel free agents who probably still are undervalued when signing a contract here. So again, are we just going to do the same thing over and over again where it's a 1-year deal, and are we just waiting until 2028, 2029 until the next window comes along? And I keep saying windows, like that matters anymore, because we are in a window of potential.
You know what I think they should do? We're jumping around.
What should
here
they
a little
do?
Bit. Today I saw that Roman Anthony was extended for 8 years, 130 million, something like that.
Yeah.
Why not just go ahead and do the extension for Connor Griffin?
What's the number?
He hasn't even hit AA.
I mean,
it's happened. More than that.
It's happened at least like what? I think AA is probably. When did Colt Keith get his contract?
Last year, right before his debut, I think.
Okay.
In the spring. So
yeah, he was in AAA.
Mm-hmm.
Before.
But teams are doing that now, and more so like non big market teams are doing that just to buy out a year or two of free agency, and to get through the ARB years too. Hey, here's guaranteed money up front, and most guys will take that. I mean, I don't think a Paul Skeens would take that deal. That's another topic of discussion we can have with Noah and Alex later on. I would bet my life on Paul Skeens not signing that rumored extension, or whatever is in the works. But yeah, I think it's something that you could do with a young bat, like a Connor Griffin, or I don't know if there's many other guys that you could do that with here in this organization currently, but just food for thought. I know you're not going to do it now. He's in high A, but I think he gets a AA before the end of the season.
Sure. I mean, we talked about it on our minor league episode. The farm does look better.
Yep.
Obviously.
A lot of changes this week, by the way. A lot of guys released.
Michael Escato.
Abraham Gutierrez. Yesterday. There was someone else yesterday. I can't remember who it was.
Braylon Bishop?
Not Braylon Bishop, but someone else. That was after our Down on the Farm episode. They announced 2 other guys, Gutierrez and someone else, were released. And yeah, I mean they're making room for some of the drafted guys and guys they've signed recently. So it's the price of doing business.
Yeah. 100%. Before we go any further, shout out to Total Sports Enterprises. Go there for all of your Pittsburgh sports memorabilia needs. Pirates, Penguins, Steelers, much, much more. Go to tseshop.com. And if you go in the description when this is on Spotify or post it on YouTube. You click that link to let them know Bucko Banter sent you. Scott, let's talk about the series.
Yeah, before we get in, let me a couple more headlines that I want to just touch on real quick, and then we can get right into the games. Paul Skeens named NL Pitcher of the Month. He had a ridiculous July, right? I mean, that last start in Colorado, I mean, that wasn't July, that was August, but that last start was probably one of the most runs he's given up in the season outside of that Cardinals series at the beginning of the year, but had like a point something ERA in July. It was ridiculous. And then Kim Sanders was obviously a really cool story. This is a guy that was drafted by the Cubs in the 12th round of 2018 out of LSU. Has killed it in Altoona and Indy this year out of a bullpen role. And they selected his contract and they optioned Oviedo back to AAA after his start, which you're going to get into here shortly. But I'm pretty sure they still don't have 40 guys on the 40-man roster. So that's something else that we can discuss later on.
100%. Well, let's go to Monday versus the Giants. Overall, I know things have been bad, but the record hasn't been terrible. Like the end result over the past couple of weeks hasn't been atrocious. It could be a lot worse, but they did drop 2 or 3 to the Giants, and obviously a very winnable series if you were able to watch all of it. Monday, exciting. You get Oviedo back from all of the injuries that he has sustained. I think what he pitched in 2023 last. So
yeah,
I know it was 1 inning. It was a bad inning. Matt is saying 37 on the 40, the last that he read.
That's right.
He threw 23 strikes on 43 pitches, 1 inning, and then he was optioned back to AAA Indianapolis. This is kind of, I'm not going to put too much into this start. Right? Was it taxing a little bit on the bullpen? But sure. At the end of the day, Oviedo does have his issues with control. I think that's always been the bugaboo throughout his entire career. But the velocity was around 94. Like the stuff didn't look bad, but I think he's going to get more opportunities here. But 1 inning, 43 pitches, I think you have to cut it off there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're just going to continue to work him out more, build up some innings, and they have some flexibility right now going into this 4-game series with Cincinnati this weekend. I believe it's Saturday where they don't have a scheduled starter, so interested to see what they do there, if they go bullpen game or if they call someone up, because they have an extra man in the bullpen right now. But I'm just glad to see Oviedo back, and I'm sure it's going to be a gradual, back to life here for the last 2 months of the season for him as he gets more used to throwing to major league batters. But great to see him back. And also great to see Dari Moreta back. Big Bank went 1 inning, 1 K. Kyle Nicholas has been back. He went 2 2/3, 2 hits, 2 earned, 2 walks. I would like to just see him ride it out. Yeah. Like I know we keep going like the back and forth. Maybe the only thing that Ben has done well throughout the years, just like getting bullpen arms, which I do want to talk Dennis Santana at some point because he has not been the same since the trade deadline. And I know you could blame a little bit on Colorado, but it wasn't great this series as well. You have all of these arms. And what is one thing that we've discussed over and over again, Scott, about having high leverage guys on this team? It's you don't need them. Yeah, you don't need them.
And high leverage. When you're rarely in high leverage situations, you're not really winning games, so you don't need those assets, and you could capitalize on those assets at the trade deadline for a lot more than what they're usually worth. You got Dennis Santana off of waivers.
They've definitely missed on a lot of claims and random flyers, but they've definitely also hit too. I mean, acquiring David Bednar in a trade was one of the best players that Ben has acquired. A former 30-some round pick by the Padres became a closer, an elite closer. And then you got Dennis Santana off of waivers, who hadn't done much in his career until now. So they've shown the ability to acquire these type of guys, and they can continue to do so. Keeping a guy like Santana around, and a lot of the guys they've kept around hasn't really made sense here in the second half.
They won on Monday, 5-4 walk-off, little dribbler to first, second base by IKF. Sawinski scored. Sawinski also hit a home run. He was the first star. And then Horowitz's bat has gotten going the past couple of weeks. I really like what I'm seeing from him. Scott, we'll just run through this real quick before we get on to our next guest who is waiting right now. Tuesday, bad loss. 1-8. Burrows didn't really have his stuff. 4 2/3, 5 hits, 6 earned. You got some Ashcraft. Sanders made his debut. Reynolds had 2 hits, but as a team, 13 Ks, 2 for 6 runners in scoring position. He had a couple errors out in the field. And then today,
yeah,
again,
4-2 loss. I mean, they were up 2-0. Didn't get to watch much of today's game. Heaney looked good for the most part for 4 2/3, 2 hits, 1 earned, and then the runs came from Madsen and Santana later on. Gave up 2 earned runs. They lost in the 9th inning. Nicky G was 3 for 4 with an RBI. Triolo had a double, but 8 hits total, 1 for 6 runners in scoring position, 11 Ks. Just not enough guys crossing home, and just another tough loss.
Before we get on to a very well-known guest, Scott, why don't we talk the Red Series real quick, because they're coming in for a 4-game stint at PNC Park. They're 60-55, third in the NL Central. The Buccos are the only ones not above 500 in the NL Central. By far. Thursday, you're going to see Brady Singer versus Paul Skeens. This year, Singer's had 2 starts versus the Pirates. Both times he went 5 innings. The second one in May 21st, he went 5 hits, 2 earned, 4 walks, 3 Ks. Split between both of the starts. Ground ball oriented, right-handed pitcher, relies heavily on the sinker slider combination, pitches to contact. You're going to see a lot of weak ground balls, limiting walks. It's kind of hit or miss with Singer.
Yeah, and then Friday we got Chase Burns. He was the 2nd overall pick last year, flame-throwing rookie with an electric fastball slider combo. He's 0-3 so far with a 6.04 ERA, but the stuff is electric. Be fun to see him here Friday night against Mitch Keller.
And then Saturday, Nick Martinez versus TBD. This year, Martinez, he went 6 innings against the Pirates, 4 hits, 1 earned, 2 walks. You get the 4-seam cutter, change, sinker, slider, curve. He returned to the MLB after several years in Japan, improved command, more diverse pitch mix, refined ability to pitch to both sides of the plate, which brings us to Sunday.
Yeah, and then lastly, we're facing Zach Littell. He was acquired from the Rays at the deadline on Sunday he's facing Mike Burrows, 9-8 with a 3.46 ERA this year, 97 Ks, 110 whip. He's a back-end starter with excellent control, deep arsenal, and a pitch to contact style that relies heavily on inducing weak contact rather than overpowering hitters. This is a guy who's gone back and forth from the bullpen to a back-end starter role. So should be an interesting matchup for between him and Burrows. Burrows hopefully can bounce back on Sunday.
All right. Good stuff. Hopefully they can get a little NL Central magic coming in. Mike is asking, what is he saying here?
Where's Stumpy?
What's this? Where's Stumpy?
And then he also said TBD Saturday is Jim Rosati. That's what my sources have confirmed. I'm sure that's what Mike's sources are confirming. But is it time to bring on our guest?
It's time to bring in friend of the show. I've lost track how many times he has made an appearance on Bucko Banter. We'll be back after a 6-second break. I'd like to welcome to the show Mr. Noah Hiles. Noah, how's it going, buddy? The Wolf game.
It's me.
Look at you. Came dressed for the occasion, Noah.
I was just wearing this. Are we wearing ties? Is this a thing?
Yeah, this is what I wore to work today.
Okay, same.
Yeah, this is my casual. I went to court in this.
Fun fact, since I bought, Stumpf and I got these cowboy hats on August 1st of last year, and the Pirates have been horrible since we bought them. So it hasn't been one fun baseball game to cover since the moment I got these hats at the hat store. So
the hat store, is that what the store was called? The hat store?
It was called the Hat Store in Houston, Texas. We walked in and there was no price tag on anything. And I said, oh boy, did we commit to a very expensive inside joke. And Alex wore his in the press box. That was the game where O'Neill had 3 errors and basically ended his run as a shortstop. And I honestly don't think there's been one good moment for the Pirates since we bought these hats. So maybe I should take them off.
No, I like it. Oh,
Oh, the power of the
that's,
wolf.
I mean, look at that. We're,
Look at
we're
that.
talking wolf game. Who do you have there? Well, what's in your hand? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, this is a wolf. It is Bucko Mike. I don't want. Can I swear? Can I
Yeah,
say bad words? Bucko
Yeah.
Mike. I don't need this shit right now. All right. We're talking about the wolf game. Some things are bigger than you. Hiles a booster seat. Bucko Mike, you can't even read. All right. So how about that? I gotta lock in. This is a wolf. It is in the same bloodline as a dog, but just cooler, and will be celebrated at a ballpark near you sometime soon.
Yeah,
I'll let these guys talk about that.
September 2nd of this year is going to be the Wolf game against the Los Angeles Dodgers. You know, it's just the dog days of summer. Nothing's going right. You got to dig deep to that inner wolf.
Yeah.
And join us on the rotunda. You wear a wolf shirt, you come up there. It's going to be a party. Looking forward to
I
that.
want to see all you guys there. I want to see all you guys there at the Wolf game. All right, I'm going to be really serious now from here on out.
Perfect.
What's up, guys? Congrats on 200 episodes. This is really cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Listen, well, it's only fitting that we have you on for 200 because you were there from the very beginning, right when you were starting as well. And look how far everybody has come since then. Let's talk Pirates.
Yeah.
Pretty uninspiring series. You mentioned it. It's just boring baseball right now. Like there's not really much to look at.
Though I'd like for the record to show I'm not complaining about it.
You're not. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah, you're.
There's a lot of people want this job. No, but yes, it is.
You're a lucky man.
I'll stop being a jackass. Yes, we could talk real baseball here. Boring series. I think the big takeaway for me, and I don't know what you guys talked about before I hopped on, is they need to get creative with how they use these innings on the mound for the last 2 months of the season. I don't see any benefit in having Dennis Santana try to get you 5 outs in an August game when you're in last place. I think you're better off, rather than looking at who's a starter, who's a closer, who's a setup man. I would look at how many games left are on the schedule and say, all right, we have this times 9 to cover. And how can we divvy these innings up to best prepare our pitching staff, which is going to be the strength of this team in 2026, no matter how much money Ben claims they're going to spend in the offseason. The pitching is going to be the strength. And you have to ask yourself, is it better to have 5 true starters, or do you have Mitch and Paul give you 2 days of consistent 5 to 6 ups a week, and then you fill the rest of the games with just innings eaters? And that could range from younger people, like you call up Barco and Bubba. If you don't think they're good enough to be big league starters right now, then cool, piggyback them. Johan Oviedo, let him cover some innings. Let Thomas Harrington cover some innings. Ashcraft, Burrows again, and then in Carmen. Between all those names I just listed, you should have enough to get you 3 extra starts with length. And then you can allow your back end arms to transition naturally. I think that's what this series taught me. And also Colorado to a certain extent. It's forget the traditional management of games and trying to do this and that. It's schedule guys to go 3 innings and just let them get experience. Because that's what this was for, right? That's why you traded Bailey Falter. That's why you traded David Bednar, is to create lanes for younger guys. Do it. Get them experience. That's what should matter here.
Well, that's a good segue. So they just optioned Ovi after his first start on Monday. They optioned Harrington after a rough outing in Colorado. He joined the team on the road there after the trade deadline. Doesn't it make more sense to just keep them up here, just to continue pitching them? And also, like, why haven't we seen Bubba yet? I would love to have all 3 of them up here in the big league team.
I would too. I think it would make a lot of sense. If I had to guess, I think Ovi's probably coming back Saturday to start. It was just their bullpen has been eaten into so much that it didn't make sense to keep him rostered for 4 days when they needed an additional reliever. So I think Ovi probably starts again Saturday, if I had to guess, for the major league team. I know it's not Chandler. That's what I was told. So, but I don't get it. I don't get what, like, they talked about, like I said, clearing space for younger guys. To me, I look at this farm system, I see two young prospects that are both big league ready and will absolutely help the team win games next year. And that's Bubba and that's Barco. If you're not clearing opportunities for them, then who are you clearing opportunities for? Burrows and Ashcraft, who are already here? Yohan Oviedo, who's already established a little bit of credibility in the major leagues? Jared Triolo? Like, those are the guys that deserve the opportunities. They need to be here in some capacity. Like I said, doesn't have to necessarily be a traditional starter. I think if Bubba were to throw, I don't know, 14 innings for the remainder of the season in the major leagues, as opposed to 40 more innings or 30 more innings in the minor leagues, would you not agree that those 14 in the major leagues would be more valuable just for the sense that he gets a taste of life in the big leagues? He gets to be around Paul and Mitch and Heaney and Baraki, veterans, if they're still here. Would you not agree that that would be the better strategy now?
Absolutely. I mean, 100%. And then there's also, I mean, I know he's not a top prospect and he's older, but there's also Cam Devaney who you acquired and you're taking a flyer on, right? So what's the point in taking a flyer on a guy like that if you're going to keep IKF? That's another guy that's still on this roster. That's kind of puzzling to me because, you know, you had Cabrian that was moved and then it was, to me, I thought IKF was like the top one, if not two, lock to be moved at the deadline, and he wasn't. And I thought that might open us up a spot for a guy that you take a flyer on, like a Cam Devaney or a Nick York. I don't want to say you're taking a flyer on him. You traded for him last year, and he got some big league time. But those are two other guys that could be up here just getting playing time, and I think their time up here would be much more valuable than in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I mean that's. If they're not ready, like at all, and they're going to come up here and just be an absolute liability, then that's one thing. But I don't know. I mean,
does it matter? I mean,
yeah, does it matter?
It's not like, right, these games don't mean anything. Like, you need to see what you have. So I hate to do this to you guys because this is your 200th episode, but I need to go handle a certain situation. Everything's fine. Everybody's okay. My girlfriend's car battery just died somewhere, and
go take care of that, man. Because we got a new guest in the waiting. So
I bet you he doesn't have a tie or a wolf. So
he absolutely does not. But
no,
it's okay. He'll do.
Appreciate.
Tell him to go get a cowboy hat.
we'll
never mind. She just said it started. She doesn't believe in the Wolf game. But I'll let you guys talk to Stumpf. Wait, bring him on. I would like. May I be on the same show as Stumpf?
Yeah, let's see.
We can make that work. Here we go.
Welcome.
Who said he could be on the same show as me?
Stumpf, where's your cowboy hat? Where's your tie?
Yeah,
I could get the cowboy hat.
Is that the way you dress to work, Stumpf? What the hell?
Yeah, I'm casual. Hang on. Let me get the cowboy hat here.
Guys, I'm sorry to take the credibility away from your Big J programming. I'm sorry if I came in here acting goofy.
I mean, I just saw you waiting in the green room, and I almost lost my shit. So
I was
chuckling there for a second because I saw your cowboy hat and wolf and your.
No, let me ask you this while we wait for stuff. Oh my God, look at
boys,
just unreal stuff.
Fresh out of the hat store.
I love it. Well, we got both of you here. Let me ask you. We were talking pitching earlier. I want to go to Ashcraft because you'd think maybe they'd have some type of interest in stretching him out a little bit instead of just going like 2 innings at a time. Is that more of a like, hey, we're limiting his innings, or we're just like, we don't know what's going on, we have no plan?
Stumpf, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Coming into the year, they were very concerned with the innings. I'm going to love this conversation about Braxton, a proud Texas boy, is going to be with us wearing the 2 most inappropriate cowboy hats possible. They were concerned about the innings coming in just because he's never thrown 190, I don't even think 80 innings as a pro in a full season. So that was a big part of the equation, the calculus of what they wanted to do. They obviously wanted to push him. They do see starter as a possibility for him long term, but they can't have him throw 120, 130 innings this year. So that was a good intermediary step, of we're going to go halfway with this. We're going to have you start in AAA for a little bit, still get used to that role. In the major leagues, it's the bullpen that's the opportunity. We've seen him as an opener. He's shown he could go 3 ups, maybe 4. So I would expect more of that down the stretch.
You guys have a comment on that one right there?
Thanks, Sax.
Yeah. I remember when Sax used to like the Pirates. It's sad.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's not a shot, Sax. Sax, I want you at the Wolf game. That's all I ask, brother.
Yes.
Need you at the Wolf game. Well,
We need a song about the Wolf game. What's up?
Oh, I wanted to kind of ask Stumpf the same question we were talking about you. Where are the young guys? How do they fit into this equation if we're making room for them, but we still have the roster as constructed right now?
I mean, there are going to be opportunities that are created organically, whether it's through trade or not trade, but, injuries, just spots opening up through performance. I think we will eventually see guys like Devaney and like guys like that eventually come up. But yeah, it's an interesting, you want to create the opportunity. That was a stated goal. And then you hung on to 3 rental players. That kind of is counterintuitive, at least in my opinion.
Organic opportunities like performance bonuses. And no, I'm kidding. Anyways, guys, John Prada just posted an article about the payroll for next year. Let's talk about that real quick. There's suggestions that it might decrease or not increase, I guess, stay the same. This deadline was suggested to create flexibility. To me, flexibility is to spend elsewhere. So why wouldn't payroll increase?
May I start with this?
Go for it.
Well, I was going to say that rhetoric alone tells me that there's not going to be a lot of added resources. If you have to subtract to add, then it means that you have the same amount of money, right? If they were truly adding to the payroll, they wouldn't have to think about cutting any money or moving money elsewhere or getting money off the books. And I don't believe that they just got rid of these guys strictly for financial purposes. But when your own general manager is using rhetoric that kind of ties into the mentality of a salary cap, when there's no salary cap in this league, although some people really want it.
A luxury tax, Noah, come on.
A luxury tax. I mean, if we're talking about salary caps, you can get the hell off this stream. All right. But no, in all seriousness, like that rhetoric alone tells me that it's like, yeah, they're going to be under similar financial constraints as what they're always under. And it might go up a little bit. It might be down a little bit. They're probably going to end up spending more money in new payroll just because, I mean, if they move Keller, their financial committed payroll would be like what, like 32 million? It'd be under 40 million if they get Keller off the books, their committed payroll. So like they're going to have to spend, even if they spend $50 million of new money, that they're still lower than what they are now. So I get the sense that, yeah, like I don't think it's going to be a tremendous upgrade. I just think they're going to brag about adding all this new money to the payroll. But when you look at who they moved away, they're going to be around the same number, if not lower than they were this year.
Is there a chance that flexibility was created to build an actual pirate ship?
No. Listen, okay. We're trying to be serious here, Scott.
I'm being serious.
It's the pay wall.
Yeah, it's the pay wall. Okay, that's going to cost about $30 million. Just the technology is not there yet.
I reckon we let Stumpf give an answer now.
Yeah. I mean,
darn
Alex,
tootin'.
This is great, Alex. We didn't really talk to you after the trade deadline. Did you have a favorite trade or someone? I mean, okay. Out of all the trades, what was your favorite trade? What was your favorite trade, and what was one that?
And why was it Bailey Falter
to you?
The Caleb Ferguson one, and I guess Hayes are the ones I take the least issue with. I guess would be the most diplomatic way I could answer that question. Yeah, I mean, Caleb was here for a year. You get a wild card guy in A-ball. That's kind of what you expect for a left-handed reliever, and Hayes was. Is what it was, right. Like it was like it's probably best for both sides to take a different side there. But yeah, other end of the spectrum is the Bednar trade for me, at least. So
why would the GM be public about there being, and maybe I'm I misheard what he said, but he was public about there being potentially bigger offers on the table for Bednar. Like, why would that be said out loud?
I mean, it was asked, there were a lot of relievers, closers who were going for top 100 prospects, and Noah and I heard something very similar, that the Pirates' asking price was, one of those type of players, and they don't get one of those type of players. So that warrants an explanation of why you chose a package of players instead.
I also think that if that info wasn't out, like if it hadn't been reported that was their asking price, they probably wouldn't have had to say that. Right? Don't you think that's true, Stumpf? That like if it wasn't known what they were asking for, they wouldn't have had to kind of explain their return a little bit more?
I think that's fair. I mean, even if it wasn't, everyone else got.
Yeah.
Mason Miller went for the number 3 prospect in baseball. Mason Miller's pre-arb. He's got more team control. He is inherently more valuable as a player than David Bednar. But you just traded the number 3 prospect in baseball for a reliever. That is ridiculous.
Duran got 2 top 100 guys.
Exactly. From a team that needed closer help. So,
for a team that was interested in David Bednar.
Yes, they were. So they needed to address why they did not get a top 100 prospect. And they're high on Flores. I mean, I don't know.
What does that say about the catching situation going into next year?
I mean, Endy's going to see Dr. Neil Elatrage again this week, so we don't know, what his future is at the moment. I mean, I'm thinking worst case scenario there, but he's barely been able to play behind the plate the last 2 years. I don't know how much you can put into that. Joey Bart has regressed this year. Henry Davis has not hit this year, so I don't know how you feel particularly comfortable with catcher with your internal options right now. So I get why they would look at someone like Flores as an attractive, trade piece, either as a catcher or as a first baseman. There's different ways you could put him into the lineup there, but whenever you acquire 2 catchers for your biggest trade chip, it, I think, says something about the state of your catching in the organization.
Can I ask Stumpf a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
just wanted to hear his
it.
answer on the payroll question that I answered.
I have nothing to add. That's kind of why I just left it as it is. I mean, the Post-Gazette report a couple years ago had some, what I think to be a strong correlation right there. And attendance is down this year. So I don't know. I'm not saying that's the only reason. And there's a really easy way to refute that report. I'll go on the record for saying that. And that is to spend more money this offseason. Yep. So that would be my argument.
If you're tired of being called cheap.
Yes.
Then just
the last year that Paul Skeens is pre-arb would be a pretty good reason for me to stretch the payroll if I was running the ball club. But I am not. I am just someone with an opinion.
Yes. And a great cowboy hat.
And a beautiful cowboy hat.
I'll let Stumpf take over my spot. I didn't mean to hijack his whole interview here. Although it was nice to be doing podcasting with Stumpf again. People say we were the Bucko Banter before Bucko Banter.
Oh, electric.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Electric. We were.
Does that mean, are you leaving us or are you just hanging around with your cowboy hat?
I mean, I got to be on the radio at 7:05, but I just don't want to. I mean, if you guys want to have me.
I guess we're not 93.7 a fan, so it's fine. You can go ahead.
Stick there until you have to leave. Stumpf.
Okay. All right. I'll stay around for a little bit more.
We saw it with the Nationals. They let go of their manager and the GM at the same time before the draft. Okay. Let alone the trade deadline. And then the Pirates let go of Shelton. They kept Charrington on for the draft and then the trade deadline. It kind of seems like it's trending towards him being back. Like there's no moves that have been made where it's like, they're just kind of playing it easy until the next guy comes in and takes over. Is that kind of your feel in the situation, or is it just up in the air at this point?
I don't know enough to definitively, just throw something out there if I think he would be, definitively think he's back or he won't be next year. I just want to go through how I think this scenario through. The most appealing part of being the general manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, in my opinion, if I was a new hire, is you can tear it down to the studs and you can build it in your own image. That's kind of what they did with Charrington and Neil whenever they were hired as GMs. You can't do that whenever you have Paul Skeens on a pre-arb contract, whenever you have Jared Jones on a pre-arb contract, whenever you have Bubba Chandler on a pre-arb contract. They really don't have that affordability right now. So at least the way I view it, again, this isn't source. This is just my, opinion at the matter. I don't know if you're going to be able to attract the type of GM where it would be marketably better, because this is a job that you have a certain amount of payroll already locked up for next year. You don't have a ton of financial flexibility. Like we talked about beforehand, there is some, but you don't have enough to sign the 2 or 3, big free agents right there. You don't have as much control of the roster immediately because you cannot trade Paul Skeens at this moment. So what do? I think all that to say is people who say it's a foregone conclusion, you have to get rid of Cherington. I disagree with that. There is a scenario where I see he does come back in 2026. It could very likely end up coming to fruition. But I think just right now, this is a tough hand to be dealt. And I think it would be even a lot more appealing in a year or so, where if they don't do well in 26 and be like, okay, we got to tear it down. Like, okay, you can get a king's ransom for Skeens at that point. You can get you can build the organization in the way that you want to see fit at that point.
Do you think
If I could,
go ahead. No.
Well, I was just gonna say to add, I've thought along those lines too, but I recently thought about the deadline. Part of me could be convinced that these moves are to set up a new GM in just as good of a spot as Cherington they added low-level prospects. So if a new GM were to come in, he could feel more comfortable trading a Barco or a Tamar Johnson or a Thomas Harrington for an established, they could trade prospects for talent as opposed to normally being on the other end where they're trading talent for prospects. And they might have cleared up more money to be spent, but who's to say they wanted Cherington to be the guy to spend that money, right? There is logic. They kept Keller to trade in the offseason, and maybe they wanted someone else to be the guy to keep or to trade Mitch Keller. I think if they would have traded Mitch this deadline, I think that would have been 100% clear sign that Ben's coming back next year. But the fact that they retained their most valuable asset with years of control, they added to the farm, which would allow them to make prospect trades, and they cleared up some room for spending. I think you could create an argument there that says that, maybe they're trying to make this a little bit more of an attractive position for another GM.
That's very fair too.
I still don't think it's a good opportunity for another GM.
No, and that's the thing that gets to me is if this job was to open up, I don't think you are going to automatically get the best GM candidates to apply for this. You are either going to wait for an opportunity with a bigger market team or a small, low payroll team where you can build it in your own image. I think that's kind of where they are right now.
I get the argument around Mitch Keller, but how about Bailey Falter? I know Bailey Falter is not Mitch Keller, but the guy had 3 years of control, and you got a 28-year-old reliever and a guy who was an undrafted first baseman out of a D2. Shouldn't a guy like Bailey Falter, a guy that has commanded a ton of innings? God damn it, Bucko Mike.
Bucko Mike, knock it off.
Be nice for one
Has
day.
Bucko Mike commented on the hats?
Hey, cut it out.
He's commented.
He's probably said a whole bunch of mean things.
What
does that even mean?
Should you open it or should you keep it sealed? No.
I don't collect baseball cards.
Anyways, shouldn't a guy like Bailey Falter bring back more? Even I know he's more of a back end starter, but 3 years of control, innings eater. You'd think someone would bring back more than a 28-year-old reliever and an undrafted low A first baseman.
I mean, Noah and me were both told that he was a non-tender candidate at the end of the season.
Non-tender? There's no...
I disagree with that. I think a guy with a low 4 ERA with 3 years of team control who's going to throw 140, 150 innings absolutely is worth tendering a roster spot or trading him to a team that would. But, that's neither here nor there.
That's a
Andrew
salary
Heaney has struggled. they obviously didn't find a trade package they liked. They obviously didn't feel comfortable with, getting what they wanted from Mitch Keller in return. So the way I view it is they have Bubba Chandler and Johan Oviedo. There is a need for bullpen help right now, or rotation openings right now. And Bailey was like, okay, we'll trade him then. Like, that was plan C, the way I kind of view it right now of, well, we couldn't trade the rental and we couldn't trade our long-term controllable assets. So we'll go with the guy who maybe wasn't going to be on the team next year anyway. So,
I mean, you could also make the argument and it could just be a product of the time where the deal was made, but Luis Ortiz yielded you a major league bat ish. I know it wasn't one with experience, but you can make the argument that Bailey Falter has been more consistent and better than Luis Ortiz, who is not even playing right now. And you still couldn't get somebody that's even close to contributing to the major league level, at least from the offensive side.
I don't know.
Well, I bet
I was gonna say the
that.
same thing.
Yeah, I was just making a joke.
I mean,
Oh,
that's
God.
the part that really got me is the value of starting pitching is at an all-time high.
Has there
And-
ever been a trade that Ben made where you think that they got more value than they should have?
No.
at the time, JMO,
Okay.
We just lost that trade, by the way. We just lost that trade.
that's why I prefaced it with at the time.
Yeah.
RIP Michael Escato. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I look at the Bailey Falter trade, and like Noah said, you have players to trade in the organization, and Harrington is a candidate, for that. How good is the track record of trading starting pitching for major league talent right now? I don't think it's particularly that good right now.
What about saying that they couldn't find a trade partner for a guy that's not going to be on the team next year? Does that matter at all? I know they said they didn't find a package that they liked, but those guys aren't coming back anyway. So why not just take a lottery ticket?
I mean, someone like Heaney, worst case scenario, can just dump him in the bullpen and he could eat innings. Who cares? It's always better to have a little too much starting pitching than a little too little. Because we saw the alternate last year, whenever it's okay, Jake Woodford's starting a really important game in August now. So it's better to have that. But yeah, there is an argument of you take what you get, but I just don't know if there are really any offers at all for the Phams or Heaney's.
And not to belabor this point, but talking about taking what you can get, I think they could have gotten more lottery picks for guys like a Caleb Ferguson trade, like you mentioned earlier, Stumpf. This guy could end up being a nobody, or he could be like a Johnny Severino, that we got in return for Carlos Santana, who came out to be a good bat. I know he's regressed a little bit this year in Bradenton, but still, to get a return like that for a guy on a 1-year deal, it's older first baseman. I thought that was a good return. They could have done that for a Andrew Heaney, or I don't know who else was on a 1-year deal. And IKF is a free agent after this year. I was expecting more of those trades towards the last hour, and we just didn't see that. Instead we saw a dump of Bailey Falter to the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, and I can't help but connect the dots there of the two of, well, we got to create some playing opportunity out of this, and Bailey is the casualty.
Here's the other thing. If you can't find a trade partner, which I refuse to believe that to be the case. I think they realized, especially with the infielders, there's just no better alternative than IKF and Tommy Pham right now. If they had anyone who could even remotely give you hope of being a contributor regularly in 2026, those guys would be gone. They would have just traded him for signing money or whatever, cash considerations. But there's just no better options. So that's why they stuck with them. Heaney, on the other hand, I don't get the idea of keeping him just because it's you have veteran leaders on the pitching staff. You have Mitch, you have Paul even, who can be your leaders. And so when you're thinking about, they didn't get the offer that they wanted, why not just DFA him? You're eating that salary anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So rather than just paying them to waste playing time that you could give to a younger player, if you couldn't find anyone to trade him to, cut him.
Not sourced here, but just looking at how the game has progressed since the August, trade deadline has been taken away. I wouldn't be shocked if news breaks that those guys are, on the waiver wire at some point. Just pick them up, as like a salary, like you're saying. But,
Yeah.
the worst case scenario is you trade, an Andrew Heaney for a DSL prospect, and then someone goes down and you're down a starter the rest of the way. Like I said, there's no issue of just throwing Heaney in the bullpen to eat innings or whatever, or he could go 5 and dive, at the end of the year. Or if you want to go with a 6-man rotation to limit Skeen's innings and Burrow's innings and give Chandler a softer landing into the majors, like you have those options. I'm not defending it. I'm just kind of thinking out loud of why you don't necessarily have to dump him for a 17-year-old kid who will never reach the majors, when you could hedge the bet of like, okay, we've got someone who could help us for a month here, and then we could ditch him and we won't get the 17-year-old kid, but that guy wasn't going to get past Bradenton anyway.
Is there, before we wrap it up here, is there a guy that the rest of the season means a lot to this team, or there's somebody in the alternative, somebody that you want to see get an opportunity that you think could be a big contributor in 2026 come opening day? We could start with Stumpf.
I mean, I'm ignoring Chandler, as the obvious answer of opportunity created, want to see him in 26. I'd like to see Cam Devaney just get some swings in the majors, just because why not? You traded for him. He's on the 40-man roster. See what he's got. See if he can contribute as a utility man or whatever, whenever it comes to left side of your infield. Peguero's in the same boat. I'd be starting him 5 times a week just to know definitively, what you got there.
Yeah.
Right. Plus the Marte trade still up for debate. So you got to kind of figure
Brendan
that
Malone,
out.
it's still in the system. So.
Yep.
Yeah, true. What about you, Noah?
I just think Barco doesn't get talked about enough either. And again, I've been pounding the table of get these guys up here. I see no issue with Barco coming in and having the same exact role as Braxton, just being a left-handed Braxton Ashcraft. I think even if his workload, he's a guy who probably could benefit from having a lighter workload in these last 2 months. I just think you got to get these arms up here, man. If there was one hitter that gave me any sort of confidence that could be an everyday starter next year, I'm not saying will, I'm saying should be or could be. Then yeah, get them up here too. But Ronnie Simon, Nick York, Bill Cook, those guys shouldn't be your everyday starters next year. If they organically end up playing their way into that opportunity, that's great. But that shouldn't be the plan. Barco and Bubba, on the other hand, those guys should be in consideration. They can help your team win. They're better than people who are currently on the roster.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I agree. No, you got to get out of here.
Yes, this Cowboys got to be hitting the old dusty trail.
That was going to be my side off. Damn it.
Wolf game, wolf game, wolf game, wolf game, wolf game, wolf game.
9-2.
Later, boys.
We'll see you guys there. Thanks,
Later,
Noah.
Noah.
Yep.
Stumpf, we'll
All right.
get you. Let me get you here in the. There we go. Move. Add to stage.
There we
he
go.
is. Okay,
There
you
we
are
go.
not Noah Hiles. You are Alex Stumpf. Last question from me. Bubba Chandler. While we were talking about it, we could have picked a ton of dates earlier in the year where this is Bubba Chandler weekend. He was tearing it up. Everything was going right. And then it just kept dragging out to the point where everybody deals with it in baseball, where you go through a slump, whether it be offensively or just from the pitching side. Did that slump or the inconsistency really play into them calling him up, or was it just always the plan to keep him down for this long?
It's my understanding the slump came at a bad time. The way I had it and reported on it was April and May were going to be a longer buildup than what a lot of guys would do. We saw 4 inning starts. We saw 5 and dives whenever he had a pitch count where he could have easily gone another inning too. And then the June swoon happens, and it kind of messed with the calculus of what they thought he was going to be up in the majors. I think at the beginning of the year, June would have been probably whenever he came up, and then he had that slump there, and you can't call him up whenever he can't throw a strike right now. You have to get him right there. So that led to July. That led to where we are right now, where he's not up in the majors, and we're at a point where it probably makes the most sense for him to be called up whenever you know he's going to hold his rookie status for 26, and you can compete for one of those, draft picks by having him be on the opening day roster. It's rough, but to answer the question, that slump really came at an inopportune time, and I think is the reason why he's not up in the majors right now.
My last question here, Stumpf. How close are the Pirates, per reports, to a Paul Skeens extension?
I have not heard anything in regards to a Paul Skeens extension, and I am not going to be contributing to any discourse on if it will be happening beyond that. So there we go. I have heard nothing, and I would only be speculating from there.
Okay,
fair enough.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, Stumpf, we appreciate you joining the show. Do you have a sign off as well? I know Noah might have stole your thunder there a little bit. Anything come to mind? Wearing a cowboy hat?
Make my day, Clint Eastwood, or something like that.
Okay, this is gonna land horribly, but I'll give a Clint Eastwood for that. I can't do the face. Thank God this is a podcast.
You're live, Stumpf.
Oh, what pressure is that? Go ahead. Make my day. Trade for Bailey Falter.
That was incredible.
I give that a solid 7 out of 10.
That's
7 out of 10.
beautiful. Yeah,
that
I'd
wins
give
an
it
Oscar.
8. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, hey, we appreciate you joining. We appreciate everybody tuning in to episode 200. And until next time, raise it.
Raise it.
Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates, or the steak by the plates. And